trigger warning for this stories, you guys. It does talk about abortion and just kind of some heavy child parenting issues. So skip this one, maybe if you're not up for it. My 40 male wife, 37 female, won't stop reminding me that I asked her to abort our daughter, 6 female. Me and my wife have been together for 17 years, married for 12. From the beginning of our relationship, she has always said she is child free, and there was no problem because I was too. At the time, we were also living in a crappy apartment in a bad town, so even if we wanted children, it would not be where we lived for a majority of our relationship. 7 years ago, my wife was slowly getting off her birth control because of health-related problems, and during that time frame, she got pregnant. My initial reaction to her being pregnant was, quote, "So we're going to abort it, right?" And my wife agreed, set an appointment, and then the day of the appointment, decided she wanted to keep the baby because she grew connected to it. And if I didn't respect her decision, we should divorce. I love my wife, so I didn't divorce her and decided to try to be the best parent I could. I picked 3 jobs so we could move into a better neighborhood and started those 3 jobs made me extra stressed and anxious and eventually led me to being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, which I started to manage better now with the help of meds and therapy. She gave birth, we had our daughter, and anytime I smile, play with, or talk to my daughter, my wife is always around the corner saying, quote, "Aren't you glad you decided not to kill her?" Or, quote, "It's a shame you didn't want her." It's starting to spiral me back in depression because now I'm thinking I almost killed my daughter. But I'm also upset at my wife because my daughter doesn't understand what her mom means as of right now because she's 6. But if she were to recall what her mother said later in life, I fear it will make my daughter hate me. I don't know what to do at this point because now when I look at my daughter, I think in the back of my head, I almost killed her.
Mm. Ah.
People are going to think the podcast ended.
Why?
With that silence. You're really letting it ruminate with you. That's a big word for Elmo.
Oh man. I have so many thoughts just because I'm thinking of the words of Jerry from one of our previous episodes where
Father Knows
yeah,
episode.
where he says it was in reference to cheating, but I think it can apply in this case where
Mm-hmm.
sure, if you made a decision, it sounds like you were kind of both having the conversation about it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
she
then
made an appointment.
and then fair enough, she makes the decision to go a different way. And you obviously went along because otherwise the idea was divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You're not divorced. And so I feel like it's very unfair to now keep saying, "Aren't you glad?" Because you could point it back and say, "Well, we were having the conversation together."
Aren't you glad?
Exactly.
Aren't you glad?
And so it feels kind of like I know it's different than the story we read, but the thing he was saying was this isn't a knife that you can carry forward with you. This is something you need to maybe long before this child is 6 say I don't get where's the reasoning to keep rubbing it in his face and say, "Aren't you glad you didn't do this or that it didn't go the way you wanted?" Like, I don't what's the point?
Yeah. I hate her. I think she sucks. I think this is the most emotionally manipulative, psychologically manipulative thing you could do to someone. Your daughter is fucking 6. She's here. She's not 1. She's not 2. This isn't some fresh thing for you still. This is abuse. This is terrible.
Right,
She is terrible.
and though sure, yes, you as the female, it's more your choice, in the end.
Yeah.
And you made your choice. And then from the conversation I heard in this, it was either it was going to be divorce if he wasn't on board or not.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't divorce, so we're moving forward. Why is this still this like knife that you keep just jabbing?
I don't get it because by the sounds of this, it was just like one conversation, which was, so we're going to abort, right? And my wife agreed, set up an appointment, then decided.
It was probably like over a time span of.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like he doesn't then say, I was still having doubts, so I pressured her more. I told her again, do you want to reconsider this? It sounds like it was one conversation, which is a fair conversation. You both had already previously established that you're child free. You don't want children. You want to remain child free.
Right.
This was an oops. So it's a fair conversation to have rather than just assume, okay, we're keeping it. Like it's kind of a conversation that needs to be had based on where you were at in your relationship. So if he would have then like pressured her and been like trying to coerce her into having an abortion, then I could understand these comments and maybe a little resentment. That's not the case.
Do we know?
There's, again, one side, so we don't know, but no mention of it. And so,
Because that's the only reason I feel like he would be taking it so hard then.
yeah.
Because if they kind of went forward together with this, why would this even? I get how someone could spiral you into like thinking really bad things and thinking, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm
Like, why is he believing it so much?
just, why is he taking it to heart so much? I get after hearing it over and over and over and over, you'd start to believe it and be like,
That's
yeah,
exactly.
what am I thinking?
That's exactly what it is. You have your partner who's supposed to be, your ally, your closest person. And if they're repetitively like saying something to
That's
dislike
true.
you almost start to doubt your reality.
Right.
But like both of her arguments, like just we're gonna point out like a fucking logic here, like a logic game. Aren't you glad you decided not to kill her? One, it never would have been up to him. You're the woman. It's your choice whether or not you keep your child. Done. Mic drop. And her second thing, it's a shame you didn't want her. Again, invalid argument, because if he didn't want her, he wouldn't have stayed married to you.
Correct.
You wouldn't have someone co-parenting
Right.
your 6-year-old.
That's what I mean. I don't understand it.
Both are invalid. I think she's off her rocker.
Yeah. So is it some weird kind of manipulation?
I don't know.
Or does she feel some guilt that she's throwing onto him?
Maybe.
Where she's like, oh,
I could see
fuck,
that.
I almost made this decision.
She made the appointment, so yeah.
And like,
I could
holy
see it.
hell.
Projection.
Yeah.
You might be onto something there. Yeah, I could see that.
Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think it probably is something like that. Like, I don't know if I've talked about it before on this podcast, but like, I was almost aborted. Like, my mom and my dad, Jerry, flew out to LA and like, she was out here, like, literally at a clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, whoops, changed my mind. And then, like, here I come down the road. So it's like, that was almost me. And so I think my mom, like, that's why my mom was so strict growing up. Like, no sex before marriage. Like,
yeah.
Because she didn't want me to have to, like, put myself in that position to have to, like, make that choice. And I don't know. I think it is really tough. And so, like, she kind of had some trauma surrounding that and, like, projected onto me.
Right.
So I could see this wife doing that to her husband because he's an easy target because he was the other half of that coin.
That's right. Well, and because they are, I'm sure now they are so thankful they have their daughter to ever even think that they considered not having their daughter.
Yeah.
Would be haunting.
But also, I'm just perplexed why she isn't considering her child because 6 is not young. 6 isn't, oh, let's spell out words. She's not going to understand us still. She's 6. I remember kindergarten very clearly.
Well, so in your case, how was it presented to you or how did you become aware of that?
I don't even know.
Because
I don't know.
The way the mom...
I think it was like literally during a sex talk, to be honest, in high school. Like 15, 16, kind of like, Morgan, these are serious choices. Like, this is blah, blah, blah. Like,
right, but it's not pointed in a way where this one is pointed to almost make the dad seem like the bad guy. So yeah, sure. If she does catch on and whether it's now or she can remember this in a few years, then yeah, it could really damage your relationship with her if she's looking at you like you were the one pressuring the decision.
Oh yeah. There could be a lot of resentment, a lot Also sadness on her part. Like, I'm not wanted. My dad
Right.
doesn't want me. My dad doesn't love me.
Instead of, yep, we were young and in a bad situation and we had these thoughts. Obviously, we didn't do it and we continued forward. It's got to be a we did this.
Yeah.
It's not
Even
a I wanted to and your dad didn't, because that's where the problem's going to fall.
exactly. Fucking blame game. So one of the top comments, those comments are not okay at all. Your daughter will grow up hearing them. A long discussion is in order with your wife and maybe therapy. OP responds back, we do go to marriage counseling and she has gotten better on different problems of our marriage. It's just these comments that are affecting it badly. Which, yeah, every time she says this, it's a grenade in your life.
For sure. So it does make me wonder. It's either her insecurity about going through that and it haunting her, or since he is our writer, there's either something
Missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone responds back to that, like about marriage counseling, and they go, she needs individual counseling. This is her problem. It's absolutely not normal, right, or fair for her to keep bringing this up as it's a valid point or gotcha moment.
Right.
She also wanted an abortion. She went so far as to make an appointment before changing her mind. How has she conveniently forgotten this?
Very true.
And then they go, you love your daughter. You worked incredibly hard to provide a safe and loving environment for her. As long as you're a good father, the past is irrelevant, which is so true and something we haven't even touched on. Like, he went and got 3 jobs, just so he could move them out of an unsafe environment and into a better neighborhood, home, whatever. 3. Put himself in a downward mental spiral.
And that's purely for the daughter. 100%.
Yeah, so like you can't even say like, oh, he didn't want her. He made the most drastic change in his life, uprooted his life, his sanity, his mental health, his health.
Maybe his career.
Yeah. This lady, I hope she twists her ankle.
This is another one where you're like, who am I with?
Yeah.
What happened to you?
Again, wow. Fuck this lady though.
These are scary wows though.
These are scary. Oh my God. There's an update. I didn't know there was an update. Ah!
Wow, okay.
That was fun.
That reaction was wow.
I know. Update. First off, I want to thank you for all your advice. Before I give the update, I would like to answer a few questions majority had. I was literally just about to move on. Like, I thought we were.
Let's go.
Wow.
This is good.
Have we tried counseling therapy? Yes, we are both in individual therapies and marriage counseling, as is my daughter with a child therapist. Why would you remain intimate while my wife was getting off birth control? One of the things our counselor said to try was an active sex life at least twice a week. Also, because we were both under the impression if she were to get pregnant, then we would terminate it. Why haven't you divorced yet? Because I grew up in a split household and the amount of times my parent fought over custody for me and my siblings is not something I want my daughter to grow up in. I also don't want to only see my daughter half the time. Now the update. I sat my wife down after dropping my daughter off at my parents' and told her if she kept making these comments, I would divorce her, and asked her to explain why she would tell me those things, and also told her how it was making me severely depressed again. Majority of you were right. She broke down and told me she hated being pregnant, she didn't want to be a mother anymore, and she hated the fact that she kept our daughter.
Okay. It's a little bit worse than we were saying.
I thought this was going to be like just a simple projection that she felt bad about wanting an abortion.
No, she's projecting her feelings.
She said she can't stand to look at me while I'm happy around our daughter because she hates that I became a good parent so quickly because we were supposed to be child-free and I am happy as a father. She was literally trying to sabotage him.
Wait, what the fuck? What?
She was trying to sabotage.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, what with this?
I told her I gave her the option to remain child-free and she decided against it, so that's on her. She apologized multiple times and said she would still want to try to make the marriage work. It's just her own issues that are making her be such a bitch. She also said she wants to be a good mother to our daughter. And after I told her that I was afraid our daughter would hate me when she is older, she broke down even more and apologized a ton. In the end, she said she wouldn't blame me if I wanted a divorce, but she would still want to try and make us work, not only for our daughter's sake, but for the sake of us as well. We are currently working with our therapist and going to start doing family therapy, with her actually trying to change. We are sleeping in separate rooms and only focusing on our daughter's happiness at the moment. Once again, thank you all, and I will update later on if needed. I kind of wish I didn't see the update. That was a lot.
Yeah, this one's crazy. So
Wow. Those are some big fucking feelings she's dealing with.
it's just it's crazy to me that 6 years in you still feel that way.
Yeah.
You have regrets and you're that far in. I don't think I've ever heard that. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think it's hard because I think at least for a mother, like what has kind of been conditioned, and I'm not a mother yet, whatever, but I'm saying like as a woman, it's kind of conditioned into you that when you have children, you're kind of going to have like this bond and instantly feel
Right, sure.
connected to your baby and love your baby so much. And so I think that's like really hard with, maybe she was like, this will be better. This will be okay. I didn't want children, but like now I'm a little connected. Like
Yeah,
I felt her kick, like whatever it was, like
sure.
who knows, but and maybe she just hasn't connected. Maybe she hasn't bonded. Like maybe she's kind of been her own biggest sabotager where she
I mean,
hasn't
it's
even let
definitely a
herself.
reality. There's definitely people that have that lack
Yeah.
and that never find that connection. It's definitely a real thing.
Well, I think like for my sister-in-law, that was kind of a big part of her postpartum. I think she felt like she couldn't connect to her baby.
Mhm.
Like
Well, and there's so much pressure too, right?
so much pressure too. And like breastfeeding was challenging for her. She wasn't producing enough. So then, like, that made it that much more, difficult because she felt she
Mhm.
was failing as a mom. And,
Mhm.
you know, people say breastfeeding is supposed to be magical and
There's a
it,
lot of
it was
emotions.
painful and it sucked. And so there's just a lot. We put a lot of pressure on
When I think a lot of
people
it's
that give birth.
when I think a lot of it is misglamorized,
Hmm.
if that's even a term, but I feel like a lot of it is just so is not romanticized, maybe romanticized, but like made to seem so magical and
Absolutely.
perfect and I don't think at least until maybe we started doing these stories or started getting into our later 20s that it was like, oh, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. There's definitely negatives and things that are tough along the way.
Yeah. I agree. And I think like someone commented on one of the videos and I happened to see it scrolling and they were like, don't let this girl scare you. Pregnancy and birth isn't that bad. And it's like, I'm not saying it's all bad, but I'm saying people have real struggles with it. And I think that's kind of also kind of goes with like what you're saying is like, we didn't really talk about miscarriages and postpartum depression until recently. Like at least as openly
Yeah.
until very recently. Like I learned about postpartum depression when my sister-in-law really had it. And I was in healthcare. I was in already doing, health classes like that and it was not talked about.
Right.
And how common miscarriages are, it's not talked about.
One, I think there's a lot that's not that you don't understand until you're literally in the middle of it.
Yeah.
There's no prep. I feel like so many parents are winging it
Mhm.
because you just get thrust into that world all of a sudden.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, or maybe, I don't know, but as a female, do you feel like there's even that much talk about what it's like to go through different parts of pregnancy
No. I
before you're in it?
no, and like yeah, who do you have as a resource? Your mom, if you're close with your mom, but they don't have like there's parenting classes once you become pregnant, but like there's no book they give you. Like if I were to get pregnant today and have a kid, I don't know how to fucking change a diaper. I haven't even changed my niece or nephew's diapers. Like I have no idea what to do.
Well, and it's tough because it's hard to make a case to say, should this be, well, maybe it's not, but can you make a case to say that this should be part of regular schooling? Because
Not
I
regular
feel like there's a lot of things you get into
taxes
that you
definitely
go
should
right,
be.
that you go through in life that you've never ever been taught.
Yeah.
And then like the joke on TikTok is, oh, well, I can solve this whole equation for X, but I don't know how to file my own tax return,
Yeah.
or I don't know how to like do these very essential things in
Yeah.
life.
No, I think our education in the States really kind of sucks, but
It's
on
just
stuff like
interesting.
that. No, I think it's crazy. I think they should teach taxes. That should be mandatory. I also think the IRS should just tell us what the fuck we owe because they know, and they'll come at you if you're a penny off.
I know, right? They
Like
know the number.
they know the number. Every other country, I'm pretty sure, but most other countries just get told by their government what they owe. Ours, it's a Ponzi scheme. They want you to be off so then they can charge you. I got a bone to pick with the IRS. I just paid off my debt to them, those little shits.
Well,
Ah,
but so what do you think would be a better way to have people be more prepared?
I think it should be an elective. Like at my school, there was an elective class where it was called basic life support. So if you wanted to take an elective, you could go learn how to do CPR and first aid and
Oh, cool.
all this stuff, but that wasn't a mandatory class. I think that one should be mandatory along with the taxes class. But I also think I think communities need to be better.
Yeah.
There needs to be better community resources for people. Like I'm considering having a kid. I don't really know what it would be. And they have a community daycare at this community center, and you can go in and volunteer and see if you even like being around kids. Because how do you know if you're not around kids?
It's kind of like fostering a dog
Exactly. Yeah.
or
Well,
babysitting.
babysitting would be better.
You know what I
But
mean?
no, I know. But like try it or like just have classes where you learn about it and like all this shit. And
Right.
like birth control. Birth control wasn't talked about enough in high school. That's why I don't know. I don't know. Our education system sucks. But
It is tough.
I feel for her. I do. It is very clear she was projecting, like you said.
For sure.
You were spot on the money with that.
I didn't think it was that dramatic though.
No, this is big. So I do feel for her. It's tough, but I think you kind of need to you're 6 years in, look at the cards you've been dealt. You have a very loving and supporting partner.
Well, I think the biggest piece of this is that they both want to continue and try to
Yeah.
make this work. So
Yeah.
hopefully they do.
There isn't a handbook to parenting. This is giving me everyone's so mad. This is giving me flashbacks to the baby in the car story. And I was gonna address it on I want to do an episode called updates and do-overs. So it's it's updates on stories we've had in the past, but it's also us taking a second look at stories we've talked about
Mhm.
already. And so I was going to save the baby in the car story for that, but I will just say no, I don't think the mom should have left the baby in the car. And someone was like Morgan should have fought Teffy, and I'm like bro, I'm not gonna fight a stranger coming on my show. Me and Teffy haven't been friends. I just met Teffy 30 seconds before we pressed record.
Right.
I'm trying to make a comfortable environment. And so I think that's a lot of times one of the things that kind of messes with my head because I do a lot of masking with people and I do feel like I'm one neurodivergent, but I think there might be a little more to that than I'm aware of. But I do a lot of masking and my personality or just how open I am, I should say, does change based on who's sitting with me. It's just it's you have different levels
Yeah.
of comfortability with people. But yeah, the car one was interesting. I think everyone was surprised by her take, but I don't think she was saying it was okay to leave the baby in the car. I think she just felt that it was a manipulative situation when two people are supposed to be partners. And I get that's not the majority's view. A lot of people were like, fuck no, he should have done that. And it taught her a lesson, hopefully. And hey, I agree, but I think it could have been more powerful. That was a complex story, and I don't know if you even know about it, but no book for parenting. And we literally talked about this after the episode too, and I was like, oh my god, thank God no one called CPS on my mom because we got left in the car a lot as kids. I was telling Lauren a story. Yeah, I was telling Lauren a story how we had this Dodge Durango. And I remember my little brother, he must have been 3 because he was pretty mobile. He was hopping around the front seats, 2.5, 3. I don't know. He got out of his car seat and was
Yeah.
bopping around. And I remember he put the thing in drive and the thing just started going. And
No way.
yeah, and he locked the doors too. And I just remember watching my mom. I'm sitting in the back seat, just Here we go, straight into a swing set. And my
No.
mom's just like pounding on the door, like, Taylor.
And you're just chilling?
I'm just chilling.
How old were you?
There's a 2.5-year age difference between me and my little brother.
And you're just like, huh, this is cool.
I don't know what the fuck to do. I didn't even know the door's locked. I think parenting was a lot different in the 90s.
It's kind of like when we were in your friend's car and all of a sudden it starts rolling backward.
Oh God, that was sketchy. Poor Sarah. She's so traumatized by that.